For the first time since Valentine's Day, Anthony Davis expected to be back on the court for the Lakers. AD missing the Lakers' past 30 games with a calf strain and Achilles tendonitis. He is expected to play just about 15 minutes against Dallas. Now, keep in mind, LeBron James still about 2 weeks away, and it's been a tough couple weeks there for the Lakers. They were 21-7 when Anthony Davis went down. Since then, they're 14-6, and they have fallen from 2nd to 5th in the West. Let's talk about the Lakers and other things going on in the NBA. Welcome in our good friend Rip Hamilton. All right, Rip, the playoffs just about a month away. The Lakers 5th in the West right now. We're still waiting for LeBron, but with AD back slowly, what do you expect over the next couple of games, the next couple of weeks?
Well, I know Laker Nation is excited to have him back in their lineup. Not only he's back, but he's actually going to participate and play some minutes on the floor for them. Everybody wants him to play 30 to 40 minutes a game, but I feel as though Coach Bogue has done a great job of letting the media know that, hey, we're not going to try to put him out there and force him to play 30-something minutes a game. We know that, hey, we're looking at the big picture. It's all about what we do in the playoffs, but it does give guys confidence on the floor when you know that you got your all-star, one of your all-stars back on the floor, where if it's late game situations, depending on how Coach Bogues manages minutes, they know that AD is going to be in late in the game. But it's just great for Laker Nation, and I'm very curious to see him and Andre Drummond on the floor at the same time. I think that's going to be very exciting, especially if these guys can really understand spots on the floor and kind of stay out of each other's way. But defensively, oh man, they're going to be a problem.
Let's look at the Lakers as a whole here. I mentioned going into this, they're still sitting at 5th in the West. They're 8.5 games behind the Jazz. That said, they're still the favorite to win the West. You got the Jazz, the Suns, the Clippers, the Nuggets. They're all still ahead of them. Are the Lakers still your favorite, Rip, or who else can compete with them?
Yes, they're still my favorites. And the reason why, all day long, Amanda, the Lakers are not judged on what they do in the regular season. When we talked about this team coming out the bubble, the first thing that we were saying is, hey, you know what? They got a short time to rest, especially knowing when the season was going to start. And how were you going to rest LeBron James and AD? Both guys went out with injury. They got an opportunity to rest their legs. I bet if we were in a regular normal NBA, these two guys probably wouldn't take as much time off. But now, knowing when the playoffs start, these guys are going to be engaged. They're going to be healthy. They're going to have rest. I still think that they're the better team in the West. If I looked at another team that can probably compete with them, I'm still going with the Los Angeles Clippers. They got star power with Kawhi. Paul George has been playing out of his mind, especially his struggles when that he had in the bubble. So I just think that if any team that can compete against them, I'm still going with the Los Angeles Clippers.
All right, still your sentiments from last season. Still the Lakers, still the Clippers. Let's talk about MVP here for a second. Joel Embiid tried to make a case to gain some ground on Nikola Jokic last night. Had he made that shot, maybe, but he is still the second favorite. Nikola Jokic starting to pull away as the favorite. Is it his to lose right now, MVP?
I would say yes. I mean, he's been out of his mind. You see the game, he had 47. He almost had a 47-point triple-double. I mean, come on now. That's your big fella, knowing that Murray's went out. And the thing that I love about him, he's took more responsibility on the offensive end. Now he's not a guy that just plays well in the first 3 quarters. Usually you got a guy like Murray that can finish games for you, that knock down big shots. Now he's took on that. He's making great plays down the stretch. He's finding Porter for wide open shots where he don't got to do so much from a one-on-one basis. Let's look about it. This is the only guy in the NBA, right, that is top 10 in scoring, rebound, and assists. That is absolutely insane to me, especially when you look at him. He's not one of the most athletic guys in our game, but he does it off of skill, off of IQ. So, yes, man, I do feel like he's pulling away in this MVP race.
Let's talk about the Knicks because this is just a fun story. Their fans are insane. They beat the Suns last night to win 8 in a row. They are now 4th in the East. Even LeBron James weighing in on this. Now, he quote retweeted something. So I'm going to tell you the first sentence of this. is about a musical group. I am not cool. I don't fully understand. You can go into that. However, the second part, the league is simply better when the Knicks are winning. So he's in favor of the Knicks. I want to ask you specifically about Tom Thibodeau, though. Is he making the case for Coach of the Year?
Well, Tom Thibodeau has done an excellent job with this Knicks roster. I mean, when you look at this team, especially coming to the season, me and everybody else thought that they didn't have any all-stars on this roster. Julius Randle has been playing out of his mind. But if you look at the history of Tom Thibodeau, anytime he's got a roster, he's got a team, like when he was with the Chicago Bulls, he really leaned on Derrick Rose and Luol Deng. Same thing when he was in Minnesota, getting Jimmy Butler and Karl Anthony Towns. He found that star in Julius Randle. Yeah, he's playing a lot of minutes. He depends on him to do a lot, not just from a scoring standpoint, but also getting guys buckets on the floor. But the thing that I'm most impressed with this New York Knicks team that Tom Thibodeau has brought, he's brought them an identity. Defensively, they're one of the best teams in the league. The one thing I know just from being in that Chicago Bulls locker room is Tom Thibodeau is probably one of the most prepared coaches that we have ever seen in this game. This guy is a workaholic. He's there 5 o'clock in the morning, already going over sets, and he's always the last guy to leave the arena. So he's definitely showcased himself in the regular season. It's all about what can he do in the playoffs.
Rip, let's look ahead to some games coming up. Specifically, we've got the 76ers and the Bucks set for a 2-game series. It is in Milwaukee. The 76ers super beat up right now. Despite the way Embiid has been playing, they are an 8-point underdog in that first game. So the Bucks, they're heavy favorites. Giannis' status still uncertain. He had a little cramp in the last game, had to go out for a little bit. Just give us a preview of this series, what we can expect.
Well, I mean, we all hope that both teams were healthy and both teams had their loaded rosters to see these two teams compete, because they definitely are one of the top two teams in the Eastern Conference. And I feel as though that when you look at this matchup tonight, I want to keep my eye on the Giannis versus Ben Simmons, because we heard Doc Rivers all season long tell you how great of a defender Ben Simmons is. And I would agree with him. Ben Simmons is a guy that can guard 1 through 5 on the floor. But if Joel Embiid doesn't play, he's a guy that can really be your security blanket on the defensive end that would allow Ben Simmons and give Ben Simmons some help, especially if he's guarding Giannis on the perimeter. So not having Joel Embiid to clog up the middle, this is a matchup that I just can't wait to see and can't wait to look, can't wait to watch.
All right, Rip Hamilton, thanks so much. Enjoy the series. Hope we do get to see those two guys here. Taking a look at some of the NBA games we do have coming up tonight. Of course, he mentioned there 76ers Bucks, hoping to see Giannis, hoping to see Ben Simmons. We'll see. The Suns, a 3.5 favorite over the Celtics. And then, of course, Lakers, Mavs, the return of Anthony Davis, expected just to play about 15 minutes or so, but he is back.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.